dark clouds loom over Genoa City, as spoilers predict the tragic death of a young life in the upcoming episodes. You might have noticed that The Young and the Restless has gathered all the young characters in town after so long, and we bet it's not for the best of reasons. There are hints that one of these teenagers is about to meet the Grim Reaper real soon. But which one of them? Here's everything you need to know.
Hey everyone, welcome to TrendStreet.
Deaths are an inevitable part of our lives. But seeing young ones meet their tragic end has got to be one of the most difficult things in the world, whether in real life or on TV screens. Sadly, it looks like The Young and the Restless is heading down a path where it is bound to lose a young spirit or two, in events that will make us wonder if history is repeating itself. This whole ordeal has a serious connection with Sharon's ongoing storyline. As seen in recent episodes, Sharon has been displaying really odd behaviors lately. For instance, when she crossed paths with Chelsea and Adam at her former coffee house, or when Nick saw her fuming at someone over the phone. When he asked her what was the matter, she revealed that her doctor had changed her bipolar meds. But things spiraled down quickly afterward. She has begun zoning out a lot recently, and seems to have become fixated on dark memories surrounding her first child Cassie's death. Remember her latest conversation with Daniel? She once again had an episode. As Daniel mentioned being there with his partner and daughter, she flashed back to screaming accusations at young Daniel when she thought his reckless driving had killed Cassie. We will talk about Cassie's tragic end later in this video. For now, let's focus on Sharon. It looks like she is going to take us on a wild ride of bipolar kleptomania. But that won't be all. Her recurring bouts, especially Cassie's visions, have us seriously on the edge of our seats. A strange new friendship in town only adds to our suspicion. Currently, Sharon's other daughter, Faith Newman, and Daniel's daughter, Lucy Romalotti, have formed a close bond. And their first sit-down was oddly concerning. Young teen Lucy asked Faith about college parties, specifically drinking. Faith told Lucy that she doesn't drink anymore. She then explained how, back in the day, she almost lost her life if it weren't for her Uncle Adam, who donated his kidney to her. Drowning in her sorrows from facing bullying at school, Faith chose alcohol to deal with her problems. However, instead of feeling better, she ended up wrapping one of her grandparents' trucks around a tree, and landed in the hospital with serious injuries, including a failed kidney. Fast forward to Lucy's other scene, she arrives at Sharon's place looking for Faith. While she waits for Faith, Lucy finds herself poring over an album of old photos of Cassie. Sharon chooses not to share any details with Lucy about her father's friendship with Cassie, and his involvement in the accident that took Cassie's life. However, Heather later alludes to the fact that her dad took a long time to get over his guilt. Heather does not specifically mention anything about the accident either, but we assume she is talking about Daniel's guilt for drinking too much, and letting an underage Cassie drive him home. Now, if Lucy is like any normal teen, her curiosity should be at its peak right now. And it looks like it won't be long before she starts connecting the dots, and figuring out that Daniel's heavy drinking was the reason Cassie got behind the wheel that night. While the realization would be devastating on its own, Lucy might suffer a greater impact, considering how much her dad's heavy drinking disturbed her own childhood. This is where things might go wrong. What if Lucy makes the same mistake Faith did a while ago? What if she turns to alcohol to deal with her intense feelings about her father, leading to another car accident, and maybe an untimely death of a young bright character? What if Faith gets wound up in all of this, finding herself at death's doorstep as well? Our hunch does not end here. The ominous closing music that was playing at the end of the July 12th episode, as Victoria watched her children bond at Crimson Lights, suggests that bad time is looming over the Newman kids as well. Do you really think that The Young and Restless is writing a multifamily tragedy that not only involves Sharon and Daniel's daughters, but Victoria's children too? No matter how you look at it, Young and Restless is setting the stage for a future filled with despair and heartbreak. It's clear that a grim chapter is on the horizon, with Sharon already facing significant mental health challenges. The possibility of history repeating itself and bringing such tragedy to their families seems utterly crushing. Since we are talking about it, here are 3 times young adorable kids met their tragic end on The Young and the Restless canvas. Number 1, Colleen Carlton. Colleen was the only daughter of Tracy Abbott and Brad Carlton. She was living a pretty normal life until she had an affair with JT Hellstrom, who was married to Victoria Newman at the time. Apparently, her and JT's intimate video got posted online, leading her to lose her job. To deal with her grief, she went to the Abbott cabin, where she surprisingly found Patty Williams tied to a chair. She tried to help her by untying her, but Patty ended up kidnapping her in return. Patty took Colleen to a camp and tied her to a tree. She then called Jack using Colleen's phone. Colleen shouted the name of the camp in the background to notify her uncle where she was being kept. But a lot of things went down before Jack arrived at the scene. Patty got bitten by a spider. In the meantime, Colleen got loose. Patty tried to shoot her, but Colleen convinced Patty to let her go to find help. In the woods, she found a canoe and started rowing, but she fell out and hit her head. After Jack reached the scene, he pulled Colleen from the lake. But crazy Patty held Jack at gunpoint and prevented him from performing CPR. Victor tried to convince Patty to let Jack help her niece, but she shot him 3 times and fled. Both Colleen and Victor were taken to the hospital. Sadly, Colleen was pronounced brain dead, while Victor also suffered a failed heart from the wounds. Tracy then made the decision to donate Colleen's heart to Victor, which ultimately saved his life. Now note this, it was Victor who brought Patty back to Genoa City to get revenge on Jack. He paid for the plastic surgery that gave Patty a new identity as Mary Jane Benson. Number 2, Cassie Newman. Every year, May 24th is remembered as the darkest day in Nick and Sharon's life. In 2005, on this very day, they lost their daughter Cassie Newman. As Cassie grew into a teenager, she started socializing with other older teens like Lily Winters, Colleen Carlton, Devin Hamilton, and Daniel Romalotti. She especially had a crush on Daniel. But the older teens did not let her hang out with them, saying she wasn't mature enough. Acting out, Cassie begins being rude to her parents, skipping classes, and even drinking. One night, Cassie attended a party where she found Daniel in a passed-out state due to over-drinking. She took it upon herself to drive him home to the Newman Ranch, even though she did not have a driver's license. Unfortunately, she crashed the car, injuring them both. Everyone thought Daniel was drunk driving, including Daniel himself. So a seriously injured Cassie left the hospital to find Daniel and tell him the truth. Nick found Cassie at Crimson Lights and brought her back to the hospital, where she told part of the truth and ultimately passed away. Number 3, Delia Abbott. Cordelia, aka Delia Abbott, is the youngest character to have died on Y&R. She was the daughter of Billy Abbott and Chloe Mitchell. As Delia grew up, Chloe refused to let Billy anywhere near their daughter because of his drinking problems and dangerous behavior. However, Chloe had to set aside her ego when baby Delia was diagnosed with leukemia, and only Billy's bone marrow could save her life. In the fall of 2013, Delia was cast in a school production of The Wizard of Oz. Billy was driving Delia and her dog Dash home after a school play when they stopped for ice cream. Billy had warned his baby not to get out of the car. But Dash started whining to go to the bathroom, and Delia let him out. The dog started running across the road, and Delia ran after him. Seeing the dog suddenly on the road, a car swerved to avoid it. It saved the dog but sadly hit Delia, who later died of her injuries at the hospital. It later came to light that Adam was driving the car that hit Delia. So yes, this way, The Young and the Restless wrote about a young character's death for the 3rd time. Do you think the current storyline is heading down the same path once again? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Thank you for checking this video out. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for new videos every day. Turn that bell notification on if you want to hear from us, and comment down below if you've subscribed, and we'll make sure to reply and thank as many of you as we possibly can.